We're nearing the end of our time with SharePoint, and so far we've learned about some individual tools like lists and libraries, and we kind of have an understanding of, a team site versus a communication site. So in the last part of this course, we're really going to focus on creating those site experiences that bring together a lot of what you've already learned. So for example, in this lesson, we're going to create pages, and those pages can incorporate web parts, which are kind of like previews or mini versions of the libraries and the lists that you've already created. So we can go well beyond that, but just so you already know, like on a team site that we have here, like Ask HR, notice there's a Documents web part already on the page, and that comes with just about any template that you use, and especially a team site with the team collaboration template. So we can see it's already empty here, but we can do that same thing on any other page. So if we want to add additional pages to a site like this, we can just go up to the upper left-hand corner, choose New, and choose Page. Now, a lot of what you're going to learn in this lesson applies to the next lesson, so be sure to take careful notes as we go through, because everything you learn about creating a page applies directly, 100%, to when you're creating news for your site. So I'm going to create a new page, and when I do, I can choose from a number of templates, and if I start creating my own templates, I would see those here as well. So I'm going to choose just the blank template, and we'll start with just learning a page from scratch, and then we'll move into maybe some other templates as well. But we'll start with blank. I click Create Page, and here we go. So we've got our blank page. Now, very first thing you want to do is give your page a name. Now, in my scenario, I'm on an Ask HR team site, but I can see that this team site was set to public. So anybody in my organization could search for and find the content that I'm about to create. So in a way, I'm kind of using my team site, which is mostly for collaboration, for a little bit of communication too, because I want to push some news out there. So you can use a team site to achieve that purpose of communicating to a broad audience if you want to. So in this case, for my page name, I'm going to talk about benefits enrollment. Okay, and because it's a page, I don't really need people to know that I'm the author of the page, but if this were news, maybe I would leave that there so people knew who wrote that article. So we'll remove the author of this page, and then the next thing I want to do is finish the rest of my header. On this particular template, it's always this geometric background, and maybe I want to change that image. So the second icon in the upper left-hand corner of the header allows us to change that image. So we click there. And then something I love about SharePoint is anytime we need graphics, we don't have to be a graphic designer or put in a ticket to marketing. We just click on stock images. All right, so let's search for health. So when I search for health, let's see if we can find something that'd be a good fit. Here we go, we've got heart in the hands, I like that one. And I'm just going with health because when we think of benefits, we're thinking about insurance and all of that. So with that image in place, I'm ready to move on. Now, if you chose an image that is maybe very large and it's not focusing on the right part of the image, be sure to set the image focal point. That's the third option on that menu. And you can move your arrow around to make sure that you're getting the part of the image that's most important in view. And keep in mind the page that you're creating is going to be viewed on a number of screen sizes and maybe even different devices. So wherever you put that focal point, it's going to make sure that they at least see that when they're looking at your page. All right, so we chose an image, we've got a title, we took out the author. Last thing we need to do with our header is edit the entire web part. And web part, just so you know, is going to be something that I say a lot in this segment because web parts are each of the components that make up a page. In fact, you can't create a page without at least one web part, otherwise it's just completely blank. So our first web part is given to us as the header, and we edit that. And then notice we get a lot of different settings here for how this could look. Okay. Different layouts, some of them can be centered, right? Makes it look a little bit different. Some use the image and some don't. So I'm going to stick with the original, the image and title here. And I'm going to center align, and above the title, I'm going to add some text for the current year. So 2021. Now, I also, on this particular layout, want to be careful about that gradient. And let me just show you what happens if I get rid of it. If you turn off your background gradient, basically you see the image in full color. But if you choose to show it, it makes your text a little easier to read. So if you have a dark background, it's going to be fine because it's white text on a dark background, but just to be safe, sometimes we keep that gradient there for readability's sake. All right, so we've got our header. Now down in the body of the page, we have to decide how we're going to arrange our content. So your first natural thought should be, what am I going to put on this page? Well, when I think of benefits enrollment, sometimes I'm thinking there's a countdown to the enrollment deadline. So I'm going to add a new section. Okay, so on the far left, you can add new sections, and each section has a unique layout. So maybe my top section of my page, I want a 1/3 right. Okay, so I choose 1/3 right, and then I'm going to choose the plus sign in that third right space, because that's where I want to put a countdown, right? So I click the plus sign, and then I'm going to scroll down and find countdown. And if I'm not finding it right away, you can always search for it. So maybe I type in count. There's my countdown timer. And then now I just need to put in the enrollment deadline. So let's say it's the end of October. There we go, and we'll say at 5 p.m. Right, and then if I want to add a call to action, I can. So I can just turn that on, and I'll say enroll now is my call to action. And the link, just for this demo, I'll put natethetrainer.com. Now this countdown can have its own background image, so if I want to add that, maybe I use my stock image library again, and I'll just look for clock. There we go, find something that'll work. Perfect. And then for my title, I'll say countdown to benefits enrollment deadline. Or maybe you just say benefits enrollment deadline, right? And then down below, contact us if you have any questions or issues with enrollment. Right now, every web part that I add is going to have different settings, and some of those settings, like this one, you edit right on top of the web part itself, and some of them you edit in the right side settings panel. So we could absolutely have a whole course on every single web part and how to edit it, but we're just learning the basics through this course. We're getting introduced to the concepts, so it might just take a little bit of clicking around depending on what you select for a web part. So I've got my countdown. Now the next thing I want to do is consider this big space off to the left, and typically this is where you want to put the most important content. I always caution learners to not use this space for About Us or something, because when people visit a web page, internal or external, their attention is mostly focused in the upper left-hand corner. That's where they start looking first, and the least important content on the page should always be in the lower right-hand corner. So whatever we're putting here in the best real estate on your page needs to be the most important content that you think the largest number of people are going to be looking for. So let's click the plus sign and see what kind of web parts we have available to us. Now I can filter these by category. Maybe I want to put text or media there, like a video on how to enroll, documents or a library. Maybe we put a lot of documents in our library and we want to put that here. People, news, regional information, even maps, all kinds of things. So you can filter by category, or if you don't like this kind of grouped view like this, you can use the list view, and this one gives you a description of each web part. Okay. So I'm going to put a hero web part at the top of my page just because it gives a really big flashy impression. And so when someone visits my page, it looks really professional and clean. So I'll choose hero. And on a hero web part, you have to choose what goes in each component. Now by default, it wants to put 5 pieces of content here, but you can change this and maybe you just have like 4 pieces of content to share perhaps. But then after you've chosen your layout and whether it's tiles or layers, you come back into the web part itself and then actually add the content. So each piece of content in a hero is going to be a combination of a link to a resource. Maybe it's an external website or an internal resource. And it's going to be an image. And it doesn't always have to be a stock photo. Sometimes it's just a solid color, perhaps. And sometimes, depending on what you're linking to, it's going to automatically try to grab an image from the source. For example, let me come up here to this upper right-hand corner. I choose Select Link, and I'll choose From a Link. And I'm going to put in this course that you're taking right now. All right. And insert, and we'll see what it grabs. There we go. So you can see the actual thumbnail for the course that you're in right now is automatically grabbed. Now, if I want to edit that square some more, notice when I move my mouse around, I get a little menu over that item. So I click pencil, and then for title, I'm going to say enroll to learn more, right? Or maybe it's an educational resource of some sort, and you choose whether or not to show that. If you show it, you just get that gradient like you can see there. All right, so I'm going to leave that one just like that. I'm going to select another link for the smaller space. All right, let's go back to our benefits theme here. Okay, so I'm just going to put dummy URLs in here just for now. We'll use Google repeatedly, and then we'll go and change those images. There we go. We'll put Google on those bottom two, but imagine, that's like one of your insurance providers, or it could be a link to a form someone needs to fill out. And then for the big piece on the left, I just want to show you how to navigate some of these other options where you could look for something on the web. You could use something from your OneDrive. Maybe you have a file there that you want to share. Or find something on this site that's already out there. And on this particular site, there's nothing here to use, but it could be just a PDF, right? Or a Word file, or you could upload something original. So once again, I'll just use Google in the interest of time here. All right, and then each of these can have a title, and notice the big space here gets a call to action as well. So that's the best real estate in this layout. So we'll go ahead and say learn more on our benefits packages, or maybe since we have learn more here, we'll just say benefits packages and then learn more. And then just notice there's these additional sections here where you can show that learn more or not, and what does that learn more link to? Because it can link to something different than the benefits package square itself. So in this case, I'll just make it the same link once again. All right, now that background image, let's go ahead and put in our own image. Once again, using stock images, paper. All right, we'll use this one. Good enough. All right, and then we'll do that just a couple more times. Edit our background image to a custom image. Look for family. And our last one here. Let's look for health again. All right, so far we have a hero web part with clickable squares, so people can quickly find important resources related to this page topic. And sometimes you can put the title, and sometimes you can choose to hide that. That's up to you. So if the image alone is enough, just leave it just like that. If it needs a little explanation, use that title. All right, so we've done a hero and a countdown. Let's go down to our next section. Now, a blank page always comes with a full width, one column layout. And I know that because if I click inside this section, I can see an icon on the left-hand side that's just one column. And if I want to verify, I click that, and then I can see, oh, yep, one column is already selected. Now, in every section you put on your page, you can change the background shading to kind of break the page up a little bit, and this can look really nice. So I'm going to make that dark green. Notice I could also make this whole section collapsible, but I won't for this one. And I'm going to get rid of that text web part that came with my page. So to get rid of a web part, click into it, and then click the trash can right on the edge of the web part. All right, now what I do want to put in this space is going to be the people who can help you with benefits enrollment. So I click on the plus sign, I look for people, there we go, and I'm going to change it from compact to descriptive. Okay, now my first person who can help is Adele. My second person who can help is Nestor. And my third person who can help is Joni. All right, so we've got 3 people who can help with benefits enrollment, and we see their name, we see their title, and we can also add a link, maybe to LinkedIn or their Delve profile, or any link that would be some more information about this person, or maybe their department. And then for each person, you can also add a description up to 255 characters, and you could say something to the effect of, Adele helps with benefits enrollment primarily, but can also assist with records updates. All right, so we've got descriptions in there for each of them. I won't add links, but you could. And then at the top here where it says people profiles, I'm going to make that say our team. There we go. All right, then down at the very bottom here, I'm going to add a different section layout. So add another section. This time I'll do 2 columns. And on the right-hand side, I want to put the document library that just explains like our providers and the packages and all of that. So I'll create a library web part here. So I look for library, I choose document library, and then I'm going to choose the main documents library on my site, because let's just say this entire site is dedicated to this, but maybe I created a view, so refer to those earlier lessons, but maybe I created a view that filtered to the benefits category. Okay, so I'd look for my benefits view here. And on the left-hand side, we've also learned list, right? So maybe I have a list of resources or people. It could be clients, contact information, or whatever the case may be that I want to put here as well. And so far, this particular site doesn't have a list, but if I did, they'd be listed out here, and you choose it just like a document library in which view of that list you'd like people to see. So since I don't have any on the site so far, I'll take that out, but that kind of shows you how easy it is to bring in a library and a list that you've learned so much about already. So easily embedding those on a page. All right, so since we do need one more web part here, just kind of balance everything out, let's go ahead and put quick links in here. And quick links is a popular web part just because you can put basically buttons on your page to get people to important resources quickly. And there's a few different layouts you can choose from. So let's go with the grid layout, and then I'm going to add a link. This should look familiar, kind of like the hero web part, right? And we'll do Google. Just in the interest of time, we'll get some easy ones in there. I'll get creative and have this one go to Bing. But again, this is internal or external links. We'll add another one to Yahoo. And one more to Ask Jeeves. Is that still a thing these days? There we go. All right, so down here, since it is search engines, I'll just go ahead and put that as my header, and I'm good. So it's not really with our benefits theme, but you get the idea. Quick links are really just that. You choose what it's going to link to, and then for each of these, you've got a pencil where you can click that and then change the thumbnail that's showing up there. So for ask.com, since it didn't give me an image automatically, like Yahoo and Bing did, maybe I go to custom image, change, stock images, and we'll look for question, and insert. And the same thing for Google, since I didn't get one today. We'll use custom image, change, and I'll look for search, and let's use this one. Perfect. All right, so our page is done, for now anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Publish to close the process out. There we go. And as soon as I'm done, I have the option to add this page to my left-hand navigation, post this page as news, which you'll learn about in the next lesson, email this to someone, post it on Yammer, which is our enterprise social network, or remember I said you can create your own page templates on your site. If I want to use this same layout combination and the same web parts again, I can save it as a page template and do this again in 2022. So for now, all I'm going to do is add it to my navigation. So I have one-click access on my site and for other people to use to get to this page. And we're done. So with the pages you create, you can view analytics. So after you've announced this and you've sent it out and it's been through the distribution list or you posted it somewhere on your intranet and it's getting some traction, you might be curious how it's doing. So you can click on analytics at the top of a page or a news post and see how many viewers you've had, how many views you've had, the average time each user spends on your site, and then what are your popular times of day, so day of the week as well as time of the day. And for each of these, it defaults to the last week, but you can up these to the last 3 months. Okay, so pretty cool, just to kind of see how your page is being used. All right, so just a couple more things here. Maybe I don't want benefits enrollment at the bottom of my navigation menu. So at the end of this chapter, we're going to talk about editing navigation, but for now, what I'm going to do is click on Edit, and then I'm just going to drag that up to the top, right underneath Home, and save. And we'll do navigation more in depth as our last lesson in this chapter. So here's my page. I've got all of my interactive clickable links. I've got my people web part. I've got my search engines, one click away, and then any documents I add, perhaps in a particular benefits view again, remember, would show up here on my page. So a great starting place on this new site. So let's go back to the home page. Now that we know how to create an original page, let's talk about modifying this home page. So I'm going to click Edit in the upper right hand corner of this site, and just like a normal page, I can change anything here. But notice there's no header section here, right? It's your home page, so no header. But I can change any of these existing web parts that came with my template, such as quick links. If I don't want it, I can delete it. If I want to move it somewhere else on the page, I use the handle and I just move that to a different spot. Right, so you can rearrange, you can delete, and of course, just like with a normal page, you can click the plus sign and add additional pieces to your page. So in our next lesson, we're going to learn about news and what that is on your main home page here by default, and then how we can use news differently from pages to get the word out about whatever our department or our team is working on.